Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
My good friend Doug Martin sent this to me, and it's really the truth. If we don't start electing Americans that see the United States Constitution as a roadmap instead of an obstacle, we will find ourselves right back where we started 250 years ago. How true. Here comes Kate Smith. God bless America on a sunshiny, oh my, Thursday. Good morning, Patriot, call in. Oh, it is a pretty morning outside. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch, and of course with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a very safe, clean environment and the best in tires. Don't forget to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hope so. Thank you, Randy. Call back in a little bit later. I know I'm going to have some topics that you want to discuss. God bless you, man. Thanks. And right now, let's go to the weather, brought to everybody by KNR Rental. Hello, Roger and the crew. I bet you they enjoyed opening the doors this morning when they didn't have to dodge all the raindrops and the wind and everything. KNR Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. They open up at 7 in the morning, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway, and they've got the best tools and equipment for you to finish any kind of a construction project, or they've got all the power rakes and all the garden and lawn equipment. I mean, hey, come on, all the water lines, everything for you at K&R Rental. And we're going to have more about them right after Gina tells us about the weather.
It might actually feel like summer for the next couple of days. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies, calm winds out of the northeast at about 5 miles an hour, high of about 70. Tonight, nice and clear with a low 44. Tomorrow, sunny, warming up to 76. Looks like partly cloudy skies and 50 for Friday night. By Saturday, mostly sunny, 83, 84 for Sunday. And as we make our way towards Monday, sunny skies and highs in the mid-80s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I love it. Thank you, Gina. Very, very good forecast. K&R Rental brings us the weather right off the get-go from the start of our program. Thank you, K&R Rental, on the Burley-Paul Highway. And by the way, if you've got questions about, well, what do I need for this kind of a job or whatever, give them a call. They'll help you. 678-3122, K&R Rental. Want to also acknowledge our friends that have been with us for a long time on this program. And I just absolutely, they're some of my best friends. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and they literally have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. You can either call them at 678-0459 or stop in at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. and they will help you. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and it's true. They provide warm winters and cool summers, and they have for almost 7 decades. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to clean up a couple of loose ends here this morning. Paul Peterson is having a birthday today, and I sincerely wish him a very happy birthday. Paul is a cartoonist, and I mean that in all sincerity. He's a cartoonist that takes certain excerpts and stories and happenings on this program and turns them into wonderful cartoons. I have over 3 notebooks filled with his cartoons, and they are a valued treasure. Happy birthday to Paul. A good man and one of our lunch bunchers, so we're very appreciative of him. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. I want to remind everybody, too, about Dino Septic Service. Hello, Dinos. Yeah, they're out there on the sunny days. They're out there on the rainy days. They're just out there serving you. Absolutely. Septic tank pumping and backhoe service. Septic tanks and drain fields installed, liquid waste removal, all of this and so much more by people that do jobs that you and I don't want to do. I'll tell you what, you call Dino Septic Service at 436-6526 or 678-1638. Absolutely. Fast, fair, friendly service. I can attest to that. Dino Septic Service, you call them today. Caller, good morning.
Good morning to you, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
John Bolton should be charged with treason for what he has done in his book. He has put out classified information that is truly against the law, and during wartime this would be a penalty of death. But I think he should go to prison for the rest of his life. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to be far, far different than you. Quite frankly, the administration knew that this book had been written. They knew that it was not going to cast a good light on Donald Trump and the administration. And they knew this long ago. And quite frankly, I think people in the administration poo-pooed this along, and they should have said something, done something, or tried to do something a lot earlier. That being said, I go back to one thing that you have come on this program and said many, many times, that we have to have the right of the First Amendment of free speech. And if he wants to write a book and the government really can't find or stop anything in the book, he certainly has the right to make any allegations, whether they are truthful or absolute lunatic lies, to which I lean towards the lunatic lies. John Bolton is not a very likable person, and everyone or every organization that he's worked for, they were glad to see him shut the door as he left for the last time. That being said, the proof's going to be in the pudding. I honestly don't think it's going to do damage to Donald Trump. I don't think it's going to hurt this administration's quest for a re-election. That's my personal thought.
Well, let me mention to you that everybody that's in his administration has swore by raising their hand that they will uphold the laws and to tell the truth and, everything else that's attached to it. He has broken the law, and he should be punished. I don't care who he is. He needs to be punished.
Yeah, Keith, I can't, and you can't either. You can't control what the circumstances are going to be about this book and the release of this book, or a suit against the author of the book, John Bolton, or the publisher, which I think is Simon & Schuster, I believe. And we can't do anything to collect our thoughts and demand that the man serve a prison sentence or be up for lying and all kinds of passing out of classified information. It's the government's duty and their lawyers to ascertain whether there is something illegal. Do I like John Bolton? Absolutely not. I've never cared for the man. I thought he was just nothing more than a puffed-up rooster. Do I think that this book is necessary? No, I think it's all sour grapes because he got canned like he has from other positions and locations. But to say that we should stymie the book, and if the government hasn't seen fit up till now, a day before the release of the book, let's just sit back and see what happens.
Well, your advice is good, but I think we as the people need to, I don't know what we can do. I really don't know, but we should not tolerate somebody who discloses classified information.
I am far more worried about the FBI and the leadership or lack of in the FBI and the way that it was manipulated and twisted to hurt the possible election of Donald Trump, the lying and the agents doing things and sharing information that shouldn't have gone out. I'm more concerned about that situation than I am the sour grapes from John Bolton. I think people will look and perceive that John Bolton is not well liked. Everywhere, like I said earlier, he's been, when he got canned or left, people opened the door for him and slammed it because they didn't want to see him again. So we'll see what happens.
As usual, you win again.
Oh, I don't want to win again. Hey, listen, I appreciate you, Keith.
Lunch bunch.
All right, God bless you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you. I want to remind you the Elston Estate Auction put on by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Absolutely. It's going to be this Saturday at 11 o'clock over in Buell, and the address 4400 North, 1547 East. From Buell, you travel north on Clear Lakes Road, turn east on 4400 North for approximately a half mile. Whoop, look for the signs. You'll be there. They're going to have tractors and farm equipment, vehicles, motorcycles, lawn and garden items, shop equipment, all kinds of goodies for you at the Elston Estate Auction, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service over in the Buell area this Saturday at 11 o'clock. The Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys sell them all. Absolutely. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I have, and I'm going to apologize for this, I put in my mouth about 5 minutes before the program this morning one of those lemon cough drops. Holy smokes. They are tart. And anyhow, if you hear me swallowing quite a bit, that's why. That lemon cough drop is pretty doggone powerful. Hey, don't forget, Rupert and I tip my Resistol to them and say thank you. They're going to go ahead with the Rupert 4th of July celebration, as well they should. People need an event to look forward to, and this is a great event. Rupert 4th of July celebration with the theme Rockin' in the USA with the Grand Marshal Charlie and Lori Creason. Main sponsor PMT, and they're going to have a customer appreciation luncheon on Monday, June 29th, and then all that week, Tuesday, June 30th, all the way through the 4th of July, they're going to have a great patriotic program. Every day they're going to have lawnmower races, they're going to have mutton busting, they're going to have great music. Wow. All of this at the Rupert 4th of July celebration. Don't you miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, your turn. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I am going to try to hold my angst and my temper right now, and it's not going to be easy. I watched this video that I'm going to be referring to at least 50 times. Seriously. And each time that I watched this video, I got madder and madder and more infuriated about a black punk. I'm going to tell it like it is, folks. If you don't like it, turn the dial. A black punk that could do such a disgusting act. This black punk was walking down the street, and he comes up alongside a 92-year-old woman on a walker. And as he walks by, he strikes out with his left fist and for no reason punches this woman in the face, knocks her to the ground, and she hit her head on a fire hydrant. And this absolutely, underline this word, I mean it, I will not take it back, worthless punk just walks on. As this 92-year-old woman was writhing on the ground in pain, he walked on. This worthless punk has been arrested, and I could not believe this when I heard this report, over 100 times. I am not making this up. This punk was arrested and has been arrested over 100 times. There was no reason whatsoever as to what he did and why he did this heinous deed to this 92-year-old woman. No reason at all. She wasn't blocking or impeding his going down the sidewalk. She was just walking with her walker up the sidewalk. He walked by, boom, punched her in the face and knocked her down. Well, fortunately, this worthless punk was arrested again. And I don't know what he will suffer as far as incarceration or any reprimands to his deeds. But I know one thing, cowboy justice ought to prevail. And I would love to see about 4 or 5 big burly bulldoggers get a hold of this guy and absolutely give him a personality adjustment that he will never, ever get from the law and justice system. How could anybody be that low? How many of you saw that video of that poor lady? I mean, there was nothing that lady did to impede his way or block his way down the street or cause or have a reaction to being punched in the face. 92-year-old woman knocked to the ground. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Get a rope.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
I'd say get a rope. That's the cowboy way of doing it, isn't it?
No, don't go there, Keith. No, don't even be jocular about that. I don't like that kind of talk. But I am telling you this, that I absolutely wouldn't mind a little personality adjustment with this person. You can't be that low. I mean, I didn't think anybody could stoop to that level below a snake's belly and hurt and hit a 92-year-old woman on a walker.
If this person is allowed to walk the streets, he's going to kill somebody sooner or later.
Absolutely.
And that term I give you is just something I guess I've watched too many Westerns.
Well, we've got to try to be a civilized society in most ways, but there comes a time when you have a person it's kind of a catch and release, like going to a private fish pond. I mean, 100 times arrested? I can't even envision this. And he's a kid. He's a punk. He's, I think, in his later 20s. I just can't fathom this.
He's just one of those kind of people that don't care about life itself. You've got that right. I hope the family of this woman, I hope that the law, honestly, I know a lot of people are going to criticize me for this, but I wish the worst for this punk. It's not a one-time Barney to the point where, he made a mistake, he made a bad choice, and he committed a crime, he committed an assault. 100 times, come on.
I hope he gets the absolute worst that justice can give him. Keith, God bless you. I appreciate your call.
Nip it in the bud.
You got it. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate it. Get another call. Come on. Thank you. Caller, stand by. I'll be right with you. I'm so frustrated and mad over this. You're going to have to help me out. Stand by. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair at 635 21st Street in Heyburn. For sale. For sale. That's right. And it's a great business opportunity, and it's a turnkey business. What does that mean? Well, it means you buy the business, he gives you the key, and you're ready to rock and roll and go to work and make some money. That's right. And the owner will finance, and he'll also train the new buyer of the business. So check it out today. Call Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair at 635 21st Street in Heyburn, 878-4991. There you go. Caller, good morning. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, that isn't only the worst part of what happened there. A little later on that broadcast, they said this guy was in the city where he would be automatically let go. There, you know, he wouldn't be incarcerated. It just blows my mind. People say our legal system is too rough, that our cops are too mean, and there are people like this running around and doing the damage they do.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that woman's attitude, how it's going to be next time she has to go out to the store or go somewhere, maybe to the doctor, or to get her mail? She's just going to be terrified. It just makes no sense that they can go after our legal system and say it's too rough, that our cops are too mean, when you've got people like this running the streets.
I totally agree with what you're saying, Jerry. I cannot in any way, shape, or form, and I've thought about this since last night, there's no way I can understand a mindset of any person going by an elderly person, a 92-year-old woman, and reaching out and punching her in the jaw, knocking her down up against a fire hydrant. What in the world is going on in the mindset of that person? I mean, absolutely there has to be cowboy justice. He's been arrested over 100 times, and I hope this time, and I mean this, he gets his comeuppance somehow.
I can remember a few years ago, I was driving somewhere. I had a police radio in my car because I was civil defense too. And the guy in Shoshone pulled a drunk over. And I can remember dispatch telling them this guy's been arrested 38 times.
Oh, my.
And he beat up on the officer several times. Be very careful on how you approach him.
Yeah.
And that was the worst I'd heard of up to this point. That's always stuck in my mind. It just makes no sense.
Absolutely.
That people can get by with stuff over and over and over and over, and our judges and our legal system will let them off.
Yeah. Jerry, I appreciate your call as always. I've got them stacked up at the main studio, so I've got to get another call in. But God bless you, man, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
And may the Lord bless you and your whole audience.
Thank you. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
And did you also hear that he molested a 13-year-old girl?
Yeah, I mean, the list goes on. What is this vermin? And I'm going to use that term. And again, those that criticize me for some of my words that I use, I couldn't care less. This is vermin. This is human filth that would absolutely do something like he's been arrested for in the past, molestation, and then walking. Did you see the video?
Yes.
Now tell me, and tell the audience, am I exaggerating at all that this lady did nothing to impede that man's walking down the street? She was on a walker, and he walked by and just reached out and bang, hit her in the face for no reason whatsoever.
You're not exaggerating a bit. She was just walking on her side of the road. She wasn't even, or side the sidewalk. She wasn't even in front of him. She didn't have to move sideways to get out of his way. He just walked by her. And this man, where he was also released from Rikers Island
Yes.
because of COVID-19.
Yes.
So this man, he needs to be put away in a hole where they got to pipe daylight to him.
I can think of things that need to be done before that, though, Doug.
Pardon?
I said I can think of things that need to be done to him before they do that.
Well, first off, I'd like to see him turned loose with that 13-year-old daughter or 13-year-old girl's parents.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them spend about 15, 20 minutes with him.
You know what the problem is right here, Doug? You take the vermin like this guy is. He's lower than a snake's belly, and I have no human respect for him whatsoever. He's really not going to get the message. And the way the judicial and law system is being criticized today, like you said, he was released from Rikers Island. And you know what? Somebody's going to say, well, he's a turn-loose felon. And somebody is going to say, well, we should restore his voting rights like we're doing other felons. I'm just absolutely livid over what's happening in this country with stupidity that is wrecking our society.
Exactly. And I've said over and over again, when people start being held accountable for their crimes and what they're doing against this country and civilization, then we might, see some civil. But when people, commit murder instead of being on death row for 40 years and dying of old age, no. Let them have a few appeals. Let them find out, do the DNA test now, and if it is positive, you're done. You're out of here.
That's right.
That will deter them from doing it because they know they can get away with whatever they want.
Just think for 5 seconds, audience, and caller number 2, I'll be right there. Just think for 5 seconds how you would react if that was your mother or grandmother being punched in the face for absolutely nothing and knocked to the ground and hitting your head on a fire hydrant. Think how you would react.
I know how I'd react. But I tell you what, let that little piece of vermin walk up to me and try to do that.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee you what, he'll only do it to defenseless people.
That's right.
That much of a coward.
That's right. You've hit on something right there. What a macho little worm this guy is, punching in the face a 92-year-old woman on a walker and knocking her to the floor. Boy, when he gets back with his buddies, can he ever tell a John Wayne tale?
Yeah, I punched out a 92-year-old woman.
Yeah, there you go. Doug, I got to run. I got calls stacked up. Thank you.
Do what we can for our senior centers. Let's support them. If you can go eat there, go eat there.
Absolutely.
You'll leave with a full belly and a full heart.
That's very well said. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it. Caller number 2, bear with me just a minute. I'll be right there in about 30 seconds. I want to remind everybody today at 11:30, we're going to be at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and I hope everything goes well so that we can have our lunch bunch outside and everybody can smile and enjoy the sunshine and the great food. And they're going to have prize drawings, and they're going to have a duck pond for all the prizes. Everybody is going to be kind of like a Hawaiian party outside. Going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And that's going to last all the way through the weekend at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. We will see you there. We'll be there at 11:30 this morning. Caller, you've been so patient. Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. These professional agitators we have out there have told us gangs that they are martyrs. They have suffered under the white race for years and years. And you go out in the street and you can do as much damage as you can. And this is what's going on. These professional agitators are telling these gangs that it's their job as martyrs to go out there and change things. And this is what's going on.
Tony, and I hope you're not going to be upset at me for saying this the way I'm going to say this, but you and your wonderful wife, Mary, that are such dear friends of ours, you're almost to the age level of that lady. And I can tell you this, that if I heard that someone had done something comparable or similar of this absolute heinous crime to you, I would be livid, and I'll guarantee you the person would be found, and whether it's me or others of my ilk, that person would be dealt with.
Well, if somebody did that to my wife, I know exactly what I would be doing. And those people out there wouldn't be very safe for very long, because I figured my wife is 90, I'd be 90, I don't have that much to lose, so I would be out for revenge.
And rightfully so. I mean, every family member of that lady, that 92-year-old lady on that walker, they should be incensed. And I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, now, Zeb, you're talking about vigilante justice. Oh, now, Zeb, let the law handle it. The hell with that. This guy had been arrested 100 times. What have they done the last 99 times? Nothing.
Well, who's behind the laws that are keep making saints out of these guys? This is what the problem is. They are now saints, martyrs, and the rest of that stuff. It reminds me of the gangs that are overseas. You go out and kill as many Americans as you want because you are martyrs for change.
There's no such word in our dictionary that can, even in a gentlemanly or ladylike fashion, describe how low this punk is. And it wasn't a kid. I mean, I believe I've heard two conflicting reports. I've heard that he was 29, and I've heard another report saying he was 31. And there's no excuse, none, for what he did. And to be arrested 100 times...
Gangs like that running around here, someone did that to my wife, I would give up my life to get even.
And I cannot blame you.
That'll stop.
I cannot blame you.
People only understand violence.
Yes.
You can't send them to psychologists to try to change them because they're only going to be laughing at the psychologist.
That's right. But you say, well, we've got to respect the law and take care of it. But in this case, in this particular case, the guy was arrested 100 times? Come on. Tony, thank you.
On TV, and it made me disgusted.
Absolutely.
The hands of the police are tied. And pretty soon, if this situation continues, the police are going to have to turn away when they see something going on, because if they don't turn away, they're going to be arrested for enforcing the law.
You know, there's so many things I want to say in regards to this case with this poor lady, but I hope and I pray that this jerk, this worthless punk, absolutely is going to suffer, and suffer dearly, behind bars. Whether he gets a little bit of the old prison reform personality treatment or not, I don't care. But to go by and punch a 92-year-old woman in the face on a walker just purely out of sport, I hope he gets his.
I saw that, and I'm totally disgusted.
Tony, thank you for your call. God bless you, man. Thank you.
Okay,
thank you.
You're welcome, Jed. Bye.
What kind of a society have we got here? Oh, I know there's people in the audience going, oh, well, let the law handle it. Oh, they'll take care of it. Oh, well, evidently the judge and all the numerous 100 times. Now, come on. I can't even envision or think about or even grasp somebody being arrested 100 times. Actually, I think the number is 103. And on the street, walking along as if he owned the street and doing what he did. Well, honestly, how would you feel if that was your mother or your grandmother, and she is absolutely socked in the face and knocked into a fire hydrant, and I understand from some of the reports, bleeding, laying there, and she was on a walker? What kind of a despicable, absolutely society has gone to hell. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Honestly, this story, and pardon me for going on and on about it, but when I saw that, I honestly thought how I would react if that was my mom or a relative of mine laying there on a street, beaten in the face by a punk. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. I can tell you one thing. If that had been my grandmother, my mother, one of my friends, that little puke better give his soul to God, because the rest will be mine.
I just honestly, Donna, I know there's critics of my program, and I hear from these loops every day. But, you know, how in the world could there be any justification for arresting some vermin like this 100 times and he's still out on the street?
Yeah, I don't even, are they looking for him even? I mean, they've got a picture of him.
Oh, they arrested him again after this.
You know, passerbyers watching this stuff. Why didn't they step in?
Oh, it happened so fast. If you didn't see the video, you can't, wait a minute, you can't blame passerbys for trying not to stop this because it was so fast. This punk was walking down the street. He just all of a sudden flicked out his left fist and hit her in the face, knocked her off the walker into a fire hydrant, and just kept on walking. There was absolutely nothing any passerby could have done.
Well, maybe not, but they saw her laying there. They could have stopped and helped her.
Well, no, and there were people after that with the video coming over to her assistance and everything. But don't say that passerbys are that hard-skinned and they didn't help, because I've seen the video 50 times at least. Mm-hmm. And he walked by her and just shot his left fist out into her face and knocked her down to the ground on a fire hydrant. There's no way, nothing could be done to have stopped this from this human vermin. That's what he is.
Well, that's true. No, I agree. I didn't see the whole. I just caught a glimpse of it. That I mean, it's just despicable, and you know, you can't blame the parent for somebody else. You know, their child's indiscretions or being a butthead, but. I don't know. Somebody's got to be able to teach our children coming up that they need to respect themselves and everybody around them. This is horrible. It's horrible.
Yes. I never in my lifetime thought that I would see a video like that that occurs on one of our major cities, and the guy just walked away. He just walked away. It's so pathetic.
It's despicable, and there's no other way to describe it. He's just a little puke who needs to have his ass whooped. Pardon me.
No, don't say pardon me. I wanted to say a lot worse. Donna, God bless you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Deb. What about the repercussions for that dear little old lady? Somebody that age get knocked down that way, she might be okay right now.
Yeah.
But what's down the road for her?
No, I agree.
When you're that old and you end up hitting that hard, I mean, she could end up really bad. And will he still get away? You know, that's just terrible.
I totally agree with what you said, and I think that's worth even more discussion. I mean, the mental anguish and the physical healing. I mean, she's 92 years old on a walker. God bless her for trying to take care of herself and go do her own shopping and everything. I really have a lot of respect for her, but to have a worthless punk, and he is a worthless punk, come by and hit her in the face and knock her down and walk on by, there is nothing I can think of that would be hateful enough to pay him back.
Well, exactly. I mean, all she was trying to do is get down the street, you know, and everything. And I think, I agree with you, the family, the people around the family, relatives, everybody should be up in arms, just like all the other people that are writing about justice. What about justice for that?
There you go. And I'm going to say something.
I hate to incite riot, but I'm getting a little sick and tired about all these other, the Black Lives Matters, that little old lady's life matters.
Absolutely. That was very well put, and I thank you for your call. God bless you for your time, and I mean that. You know, there are those that think, oh, well, you're just being theatrical. No, I'm not. I thought about my mom. I thought about my grandmothers. And how I would react and think about some worthless, again, I'm going to keep using that word because his life is worthless. 100 times arrested? Molesting, one of the times for molesting a 13-year-old girl, and he's out on the streets? And then punched down a 92-year-old lady? Yeah. I believe in the wrath of the community coming down on him. I'm going to do the weather first. I got to calm down. I'm telling you, folks, this just absolutely sickens me to think we live in this kind of a society. Don't forget the weather being sponsored by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids and the wonderful Dr. Christine Pickup and her staff. They know all about hearing and the treatment for hearing that is being diminished. They can help. They will help. And I urge you to give them a call at 312-0957. They're located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. I'm talking about the best, and that is Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. 312-0957. Gina, what's the weather?
It might actually feel like summer for the next couple of days. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies, calm winds out of the northeast at about 5 miles an hour, high of about 70. Tonight, nice and clear with a low 44. Tomorrow, sunny, warming up to 76. Looks like partly cloudy skies and 50 for Friday night. By Saturday, mostly sunny, 83, 84 for Sunday. And as we make our way towards Monday, sunny skies and highs in the mid-80s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. And caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget our dear friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they provide the expert diagnostic testing combined with the best technology to help your hearing health. Make an appointment today, 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I hate to make a suggestion like this, but this is a case where the old Indian method of burying them in the ground and letting the ants eat them alive would be a good case that would be needed for punishment for this sort of a crime.
I'm not. If you're looking for an argument from me, you're not going to get it. I'm going to be on your side. I don't think there's any punishment that I would turn down for this kind of a worthless punk.
Well, and you know, he's going to keep on doing this kind of crap because the law's so liberal that they're just going to let him keep on doing it. Yeah, and you know, if we punish the guy, they're probably going to riot in the streets because we punished him.
You know, and your point is so well taken right there with the mindset of society today. And people are saying, oh, no, you can't touch us or we'll riot, we'll loot, we'll burn, etc. This is insane. This particular case shows us how low society has sunk.
Well, you know, it's a good reason we have law enforcement. And thank God we've got it, and hopefully it'll continue on. I don't want some bad cops out there doing damage unnecessarily. But I think we need to enforce our laws, and I think it needs to go all the way through to the judges. Because I blame the judges for most of our crime.
Amen.
More than I blame the criminal anymore.
I do too, Jerry. Thank you for calling back, my dear friend. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Yes, you have a wonderful day, and may the Lord bless you and your whole watch.
I appreciate it. I cannot fathom, and if there's a lawyer or anybody out there in police work, whatever, that wants to call in, I can't fathom, help me on this, please, being arrested 103 times. It just blows my mind. 103 times. I mean, for crimes, a sundry of crimes, and some of the worst, like molestation of a 13-year-old girl, and he's on the street? And walking by a 92-year-old woman on a walker and punching her in the face for no reason? Don't somebody preach to me about, well, there's good in everybody, and we'll just let the law take care of it, and if they sentence him to 30 days in jail, he's received his punishment. That is baloney, and you know it. There's got to be some real implementation of justice in this country, administered at the scene of the crime or later in the courts. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This just, honest to goodness, I've never seen anything so bad in my life. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Berry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley and 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli in the Nampa location. Man, they've got all the equipment for the lifting, digging, pushing, carrying, leveling, everything. I mean, they've got all the Bobcats, all the shapes and sizes. They've got all the trenchers and the scissor lifts to get you up in the air and get the job done. All the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators. Great financing programs and lease programs. What are you waiting for? Berry Equipment and Rental. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. They're waiting right this minute to serve you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, we want justice, but if you have activist judges, and obviously something's going on, I don't know how anybody would not be in prison after being arrested 103 times. I know for a fact that if you get 3 DUIs, you are in prison in Idaho. I just don't know how anybody gets away with this. But you see, when you have a state like New York, activist judges who, are constantly out, writing law, basically, there is no justice. And it's like this morning when I said justice for all, all we really want is Lady Justice to be fair and justice to be, equally delivered to all of us.
Where is the justice, Randy? Wait a minute. Where is the justice delivered in an equitable situation back to that 92-year-old woman on a walker that very, very fortunately did not die because of the punch and also the hitting the head on the fire hydrant? Where is the justice to be dealt out to her for trying to heal up and trying to live the rest of her life in somewhat of a safe, sane situation? Where's the justice to her, Randy?
There is none. There probably won't be. And we didn't hear de Blasio or Cuomo say, well, it was a terrible shame what happened to that lady. She was white, attacked by a black man. No, they're not going to say it. They're never going to say it. And the people of New York State and the people of New York City are never going to vote him out. You say, well, what is wrong with you people? How bad does it need to get before you decide to change something?
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen in our society, Randy, but when you see videos of a woman of this age on a walker being punched down to the ground, I am not real hopeful, not at all, that our society can overcome the vermin that are on the streets.
Well, without justice, there will not be. And so you see, and then the prisons are full of, you say we're cycle, how we cycle, we realize how important life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is, and we cycle up and we learn and we are proactive and we appreciate, and now we're cycling down. And you see how far do we cycle? Again, Christ may not be coming for a long time. We're going to have to deal with this ourselves.
Well, it's about time we started, and it has to start with you, me, everybody, and demand and forcibly tell our leadership we're done with this garbage. No more. And to let somebody out of jail over 100 times.
Nothing from Simpson, and Crapo, and Risch. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Forgive me. I'm sorry.
All right. Hey, listen, man, I got to run. I got to go to the news anyway. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. I don't blame people for being emotional and getting upset over an issue like this. I don't. And I certainly hope you don't either. We all should be upset about this. It could have been your mom. It could have been in Burley. Could have been in Twin Falls. Could have been in Dietrich. It could have been in Boise. It could have been anywhere in this United States. To have some human vermin walk up and punch a 92-year-old woman in the face as she's standing on a walker, knocking her down. We've got to clean up this mess. I'll be back in 7 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, welcome back. I took kind of a calm pill during the news. No, not really. I don't want to calm down. I'm upset. And welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and thank you to our major sponsors, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you in a very safe, clean environment and the best in tires, along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Want to remind everybody, too, about our dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary. And we thank, of course, Joel Heward, his family, and staff for the great service they provide to you and your family when there's the passing of a loved one. It's a very, very trying time. And they always provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, and always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Remember, Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, and the number to call, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, and Joel Heward also serving you and your family over at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. At 11:30 today, our lunch bunch is going to gather up and head to Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley, and we're going to have an outside party. Yep, they're going to have kind of a big shindig for the next 4 days outside. They're going to have kind of a duck pond with prizes, and I don't know if any ducks are going to be in the pond or not. They're going to have all kinds of giveaway items, great food, super nice people at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Come join us at 11:30. We'll be outside. It's going to be a beautiful day, I hope. And that's at 611 North Overland in Burley, Denny's Restaurant. Don't you miss it. Right now, we're going to just amble over to the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, right there in a serene setting by the river, watching the ducks and the geese float by. Here she is with her office with a sun outlook on the mountaintop, Penny Main, the president and CEO.
I'm the luckiest person in the whole world. I was just as you were saying that, it's hilarious. I just looked outside my blind, and we are blessed to be sitting on this beautiful Snake River today. I'm so grateful. It looks like glass. And the wind is not blowing, and I think we're going to hit 72 degrees, so life is good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How are you doing?
If I was any better...
I had a chance to listen to you this morning. You said you had to take a calming pill or something during your break?
Okay, let me just take 30 seconds and tell you, Penny, I'm fed up with lawlessness in this country. I'm fed up with people being victimized. I'm fed up with, like, the 92-year-old lady in New York City that was hit in the face and knocked off of a walker by a black, worthless punk. I am sick of the lawlessness in this country, and I'll let it go at that.
Well, just an interesting note with regard to that. I had an interesting phone call just the front part of this week. And the phone call went on for about 20 minutes. It happened to be a very nice woman. Her and her husband have lived in Washington. I think she called it Camano Island or something like that in Washington for the majority of their lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she called looking into the Minnecasia area. And, of course, I asked why, because I always do. And the bottom line is, she said, we're wary. we need to leave here because they had such strong feelings about what was happening, especially in Seattle, and it's so unfortunate. Again, on a positive note, I know you do too, Zeb. I remain so grateful to live in this great area where we do. We're so blessed. And,
but there's a caveat there, though. And I had both Cache County Sheriff Jay Heward and Minidoka County Sheriff Eric Snar on the program last week. There's the caveat that people here are getting too naive that it can't happen here, and it can.
Yes. I would agree with you. And again, you know me pretty well. I don't take too many stands on this, but I do think we need to be mindful of those things. I was born and raised in Jerome, as you know, and a couple of weeks ago there were some threats about doing some things to downtown Jerome.
Yes.
And fortunately, it came out in a social media post, a Facebook post, and they were able to catch, if you will, or mitigate the situation before it happened. But that's my hometown. That's 40 miles from here.
Absolutely.
And, it caught the hair on the back of my head, and it went straight up. I went, this can't be happening.
Absolutely.
And so with that said, you're absolutely right. I think we do need to be mindful of those possibilities,
Well, I have taken a great big drink of cold ice water. I have cooled my temperature to a level of acceptance. And tell us what's going on with the Mini-Cache Chamber.
Sure. By the way, good luck today. We'll try to sneak over there to Denny's. Denny's is a great member of the Mini-Cache Chamber of Commerce, so we're looking forward to maybe sneaking over there at some point early afternoon and seeing you guys. So good luck today. Save the date. September 2nd is our big Mini-Cache Chamber of Commerce Golf Scramble. It is our biggest fundraiser of the year. Typically, we have it in June. It would have been yesterday, as a matter of fact. But due to COVID, we had to move that back until September. So we're looking for lots of help and lots of support. If you want to have a team, if there's some way you want to be involved, we need you. Please call us at the Chamber. I'll give you the number at the end of this little dissertation this morning. RupertForth.com. That's where you need to go for all things about the 4th of July in Rupert. We are going to be celebrating this great country of ours, and this is going to be a great celebration. So RupertForth.com is the place to head for all of event information, anything you need to know about the celebration. Project Mutual telephone that very week on the 29th, as they always do. Project Mutual always doing great things in the area. It's their precursor to the July 4th festivities, which they always put on a really great event. It's a community luncheon, a community appreciation get-together. And again, that will be held on G Street right there in Rupert, same place it always is. Again, on Monday the 29th, 11 to 1:30. So free lunch and lots of fun. Julie's Clothes for Kids is back this year, August 14th. Again, an amazing event to help kids get back into school with confidence, with new clothes and the things that they need to be able to hit the ground running come the start of school. They've had lots of challenges this year, too, due to COVID and a myriad of other things, so they need donations as well. If you want to support the great folks at Young Automotive, you can call Sue Pearson today, 678-1234. I spoke with my friend Jack Zarbaninski, Dr. Jack, a couple of days ago. The Mountain View Christian Center Food Pantry need your help. They fed on Tuesday, I believe, Zeb, 200-plus families.
Wow.
That's 200 families. So if you average out 3 to 4 to 5 people per family, they were able to offer food items to over 1,000 people this Tuesday.
Oh, my.
So now more than ever, if you've got an extra case of canned food sitting in a pantry somewhere, or you want to pick up an extra case when you're out shopping this weekend, please give the good folks at the Mountain View Christian Center a call, 678-2811. And finally, what the Mini-Cache Chamber of Commerce does best is connect people with people and people with communities. It's easy. We'd love to have you be part of the Chamber group. If you need some more information on how to get connected, how to become a Chamber member, call us here, 679-4793. We're open typically Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and you can like us on Facebook, too. So, So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Give me the trivia question because I'm ready.
All right. I want to say something first of all, and this is a tribute to you. You have done an outstanding job on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, and I don't think I've ever seen as good organization as you are sending to the audience every week on my program, and I very much appreciate that.
Well, and I appreciate you too, Zeb. I mean, what we pitch are, we're here to help everybody, but we support our members firstly, and whether it's the Zeb Bell program and Zeb at the Ranch, or it's Denny's, or it's Project Mutual Telephone, that's one of the things that we have the great luxury to do.
Absolutely.
People like you and other folks in the media who are able to help us from time to time get out the good word. I mean, it goes both ways. So thank you for all you do. But, we're busy here. We have a lot going on, but we have a great team in place to help us, a great board of directors, and a great group of members that are here to help the Chamber of Commerce grow. And so, as you know, you don't do it by yourself. I'm surrounded by really great people.
I've got my lovely bride, Deanne, helping me every day.
Yes, bless your heart.
I know.
She's the best.
Listen, here's your question, and I hate to bring this up, but your record now is 6 victories versus 9 defeats.
I know that. I have it marked down here on a Post-it note.
I see. So this one's an easy one. I say that every week, but I know you're going to know this one, and you're just going to blurt it out. Name the actor that played Gus on the movie Lonesome Dove and has been a feature star with the likes of John Wayne, Tom Cruise, and many others.
Robert Duvall.
Da-da-da-da-da-da! She has improved the record to 7-9, and the crowd goes wild.
I kind of had to scratch for that last name. I wanted to say Robert De Niro, but that's so not Robert De Niro.
Oh no.
But okay, so I'm what now? 7
and 9.
Is that right?
Right. And I'm proud of it. Let me just say something about Robert Duvall, Penny, and I think you'll agree. I've got to run to another segment, but I will say this. I have been a fan of his ever since he starred in the movies, like with John Wayne and Rooster Cogburn and others. Mm-hmm. Robert Duvall is one of the best, if not the best, character actors I've ever seen.
Amen. I would agree, friend. I would agree. Hey, you have a great day. Thanks for all you do, and we'll try to sneak down to Denny's today to see you.
Don't sneak. Come on in. Love to have you. Thank you.
Okay, friend. Have a good day.
All right.
Bye.
Penny Main, President and CEO of the Minnetonka Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to do a quick word, and I'll be right back with another great gentleman coming on the program. But first and foremost, let's not forget our friends at Let's Ride. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Get on that side-by-side or that Ford-wheeler and get out of Dodge City and head for the hills. Let me tell you, it's great to get away from the maddening crowd. Oh, you can do it with all the great side-by-sides and four-wheelers they have for you in the showroom right there at Let's Ride. Stopover hours are Monday through Friday 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 2. All the accessories and a super service department to keep you running. Where? At Let's Ride. Highway 24 over there in the Rupert area where the fun is sold. Absolutely. And a real quick note, too, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. They are ready to serve you with the best of life insurance, health insurance, and, of course, all your retirement planning and employee benefits. Todd and the crew, they are good. They are good. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Now, all you have to do, pick up the phone and give them a call. They'll help you. You better believe it. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Don't put it off. Please, let them serve you today. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Holy smokes, let's go to the phone line and let's head over to a guy that absolutely is one of my favorite people, and that's Nick Greenwell. And Nick, of course, is with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation and also Elite Fitness. Good morning, Nicholas.
Good morning, Mr. Zeb.
How's everything in the land of healing?
Life is good. Yes, we're excited. We're picking up at both facilities and trying to keep people on the straight and narrow and moving in the right direction. And everybody's doing great. Everybody's excited to be out and moving around a little bit more now, and both feeling well physically and mentally with the endorphins flowing, and they're excited about the up-and-coming weekend. It's supposed to be beautiful.
It is supposed to be beautiful, and, sometimes, though, Nick, and I want you to address this, see if I'm right or wrong, but sometimes when the weather gets really good outside, we have a tendency to say, oh, well, I'll go fishing. Oh, well, I'll do this. Oh, well, I'll do that, instead of staying with the regimen of our exercise.
Yeah, we do see that quite often, actually, especially when we have a big swing, a cold spell, and then all of a sudden we have a good weather, vice versa. But having flexibility and being able to sneak in at any point seems to help those folks. And so we do have flexible hours here, and we have 24 hours at the gym. And so people are pretty good. They sneak out for a few hours or maybe go out of town for the weekend. But we always make sure that they have plenty of homework, and that we get them right back in as soon as they return to kind of keep them back going and not lose much on their program.
Nick, let me get really, really serious, because in the first hour of my program this morning, I was livid over a circumstance that happened in New York with a worthless punk walking by a 92-year-old woman on a walker and punching her in the face and knocking her down. Our elderly do not deserve that kind of treatment, especially someone on a walker. And these folks, they're having a hard enough time trying to get around and be mobile, and to think and see this happen, it just makes me crazy.
Yeah, I've seen videos like that. I haven't seen that one in particular, but not too long ago we were watching a news program, and there was a there was a gang, and I think they might have been in New York actually, and their initiation to get in the gang was that they had to go and surprise somebody and whack them in the face, and if they knocked them out, then they got to be in the gang. And so, yeah, it's insane how things like this are erupting throughout the nation right now, and it just kind of makes me sick to my stomach as well, that we're condoning things like that, and we need to put a stop to it. But absolutely, yeah, we have some of the best citizens in the nation that have the best core values and work ethic and everything, and we're targeting them for some crazy reason.
Well, the reason I brought it up is, what about the elderly and their stability with their motion and getting around, whether it's on crutches or walkers? Do you do a lot of work with them on that regard?
We do actually in both facilities. I see a very large number of older folks here at my office at Burley Physical Therapy, primarily for that reason, for slowing down. Maybe their posture is getting difficulty, and it's giving them a hard time breathing. Expanding their lungs, or they're at a higher susceptibility for falls, or they're just going downhill. And so, most of the physicians in our community here are really good about identifying those. Maybe at a routine visit, maybe their annual Medicare visit or something, and give me a call, and we'll set up a program for them that's low impact, so it's not going to affect their bone and joint pain or arthritic pain, but is going to allow us to get a little bit more flexibility, get them standing a little taller, work on their strength, work on their balance reactions to kind of prevent those falls, both on land and in our pool. We use our pool a lot for that because it's very soothing on the joints, nice warm water. We take some weight off of those joints. But any of the physicians here in town, I have a lot of people that just stop by and say, you know what, I can't do what I used to be able to do, and I'm nervous about this, that, and the other, and I can pick the phone up and say, hey, Doc, I have Mrs. So-and-so here, and she's really concerned about this, that, and the other. Would you mind if we started some therapy? And every single time, they'll just send something straight over, and you don't even need to go see the doctor.
Let me ask you this. You touched on it, and I want you to elaborate on it a little bit. I noticed that as we get older, yes, our balance and our being able to do certain things, or being able to get out of a chair as easy as we once did, do you really stress and work on those things to maybe have an improvement?
Absolutely. We identify very functional goals at the onset of a rehab session like this, and we always kind of collaborate between, my goals might be different than your goals, right? And we need to kind of meet in the middle, and maybe your goal is to get back out there on the pickleball court and be able to mix it up with your group that meets down there, or maybe you need to be able to pick up your two-year-old because we're watching them for a daughter that has to work early in the morning, or whatever it is. But Absolutely. We identify those goals, whether it's getting out of a chair or up and off the floor after you fall or on and off of your horse or whatever it is. And then we set a game plan, and we do measurable goals, and we give you, quizzes and tests and all kinds of stuff along the way to ensure that we have objective progress that we can, A, document, and B, that we can both see and that we have a clear end point in sight.
Now, we've talked the first couple of minutes about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, but now I want to kind of segue a little bit and take us over to 1200 Oakley Avenue for Elite Fitness. How are things going over there?
Really well, really well. Again, we're kind of slowly picking back up after the COVID shutdown. We've added a lot of things, a lot of different programs, group fitness classes, and kind of going along with the previous conversation, we do have specific things in place now and geared for our senior members. We do have a Silver and Fit class that is on Thursdays that's getting busier, and again, it's low impact, lubricating those joints, stimulating muscles, both standing and sitting, and our instructor, Callie Harrell, is really good about adjusting the program to meet each specific individual's needs. Everybody's not going to be at the same level in those type of classes. Somebody might just barely be able to stand, and the next person might, again, be ready to go out and play tennis or something. And so she can customize those plans around that. We also have some really good, yoga plans. So yoga is really good for flexibility and endurance and really does help with balance as well. And those programs are covered by Medicare or Blue Cross or a lot of those senior insurance companies. And so Cheyenne, our office manager, is really good at being able to just jump online and get you qualified and make sure that all is taken care of financially for those things. And it's imperative that we keep moving and do those kind of things.
What do you have as far as facilities that you can kind of paint a picture in people's minds that's available at Elite Fitness?
We're a pretty unique building. It's a really cool old historic building on the corner of Oakley and Main. We have 3 full floors, over 12,000 square feet. That's completely dedicated to our gym members as far as rehab and fitness. In our bottom floor, we do have a daycare now, so if you need to bring the kiddos while you're working out, we have a place for them. We've got circuit training equipment that's low impact, and you can work as hard as you want to. We have 1 full floor of cardiovascular equipment. We're talking treadmills and recumbent bikes and steppers and elliptical machines and upper body ergometers. We have circuit training upstairs with resistance equipment that are dedicated to specific motions of the body, and we have plenty of people there to kind of help you learn how to use them, from personal trainers to myself to our office staff. And then we have a group fitness area upstairs as well that, again, we do all of our yogas and our strengthening classes and our bar classes and our cycling classes and now we have our MMA program where we've got little kids coming in learning self-confidence and discipline, and we have an adult MMA class now as well that's getting great workouts and kind of learning the base techniques of wrestling and jiu-jitsu and all kinds of stuff, and people are loving that as well. And then lastly, we have a big open free weights area in the back, and you can lift as heavy as you want back there.
All of this and more with Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And, of course, let's not forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191. Nick Greenwell, you hit it out of the park again this morning, old buddy. I hope you have a wonderful day and a great weekend.
Yes, sir, and I want to throw one last plug in there for those of you who are interested. Tonight at 6 o'clock on ESPN, on national TV, we have 2 of our local fighters out of our club over there. Our MMA instructors have professional fights on ESPN tonight at 6 o'clock. Justin Horsley and Clay Collard are going to be fighting undefeated opponents on national TV tonight, so tune in and root them on.
All right. Nick, thank you, and I mean that sincerely. You always do a great job, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Be safe.
All right, buddy. Nick Greenwell, a good friend and quite an entrepreneur over in the Burley area with both Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation and Elite Fitness. Want to remind you, too, about our friends at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Hello, Curtis and Lorena. They are the best at what they do. Anything electronic, they know all about it, and they can help you absolutely. All the home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, all the complete sound sound systems and car stereos and speakers, all the television sets from Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs. And by the way, if you buy a product there before, let me take a look here, till July 15th, don't forget that a percentage of the proceeds will go towards your favorite charity. And the top 2 charities will receive $500 each from Patterson's Electronics. These are nice people helping the community. Patterson's Electronics, open Monday through Saturday 9 to 6, and they're located at 421 East Main. Thank you, Patterson's Electronics. Quick note before I go to my next guest that the Bennett Boys Auction Service is going to have another ripping good sale this Saturday, and this one, is going to be over in the Buell area. I'll give you the coordinates. It's going to be over at 4400 North, 1547 East. It's going to start at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. The Elston Estate Auction. Watch for the signs. Lunch by the Cook Shack. They're going to have vehicles and motorcycles, travel trailers, lawn and garden items, tractors and farm equipment, shop equipment and tools. I mean, hey, this is going to be a good sale starting at 11 o'clock this Saturday over in the Buell area, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Don't forget Joe Bennett and the crew. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. I get a chance right now on this program to talk to a long-time friend, and I mean that. I have the utmost of respect for this gentleman. He has been a friend of Deanna and I for many, many years, and I say good morning to a former Idaho State policeman, Dave Neal. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zeb.
How is everything in Dave Neal's world?
Well, I still got a pulse, so I get up in the morning.
That a boy. Dave, tell us a little bit about your background in law enforcement. I'll give you kind of a chance to give us a thumbnail sketch as to what you did before retirement. Go ahead, please.
I went through the College Southern Idaho Falls, course in law enforcement in 1969. I went to the Washington State Patrol as a trooper cadet for a couple of years. Part of that duties was working at the scales, the truck scales, and so forth. I decided to come back to Idaho. I was a patrol officer for the Twin Falls City Police Department for a year before I joined the Idaho State Police. I have a total of about 37 years in law enforcement. Did I lose you?
I'm there. I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay. I did various things. I was a patrol officer. I was a SWAT team commander for 8 years for the state. I rode motorcycles. I had assignments in 4 of the 6 regions in Idaho, and I retired as a district commander in Twin Falls. I served that for about 12 years.
Dave, you have all the credentials and all the past history for me to ask you these questions because I know you're going to give me a straight, honest answer. I want to start, first of all, with never in my life, ever, and I'm an old man, have I seen so much festering of disrespect for our police. Why? Why is this happening?
Well, I want to take it back a little bit. When I joined in 1969, law enforcement and those things, it's almost deja vu for me. That was when the Vietnam issues were going on, and we had a lot of riots going out through the nation. There was several incidents involved. Obviously, the Democratic Convention in Detroit was well publicized. The Kent State shootings, so on and so forth. We were known as pigs. There was a lot of dissent for law enforcement during that. We were kind of the focal point, trying to keep the peace with with the government. It kind of settled there for a while. I think community policing is not a new concept. It's something that we work very hard on. I always try to remember my people, remember who we work for, and that they are our customers, and we needed to be treated as such. In the last few years, I personally think it's been
it's not the law enforcement as much. I always say we're a reflection of society's attitudes of the days. And I just feel that the way that politics has gone the last several years, and so divisive, and if you don't agree with somebody, you hate them, and all those type of attitudes are out here. I think it's extremely difficult. I think there's a lot of influences on the copying that isn't new, but it goes on, and that obviously needs to get better.
Dave, when we turn on the news, pick up a newspaper, or listen to anything on the radio, we are hearing the crazy, absolute, destitute of any common sense philosophies of the liberal left saying, defund the police and ban the police. Look at the situation across the board with the lootings and burnings that took place, and now the encampment in Seattle, the blocking of transportation and people trying to get down the interstate in Portland. I mean, what are we going to do? How are we going to solve this thing and get back to a rules and regulatory lawful society?
Well, I totally agree. I've always said that we get what we accept, and the acceptance and more liberalism of enforcing rules and laws, to ignore them. A lot of the leadership today in government at all levels, it's political, it's emotional judgments. It's not what's best for all. When I was raised in school and in government classes, it was, we obey the laws. If we don't like them, then we try to change them. We don't just start ignoring them. And I think there's been a lot of that going on. I think there's a lot of the systems in justice, courts, the referral programs, jails, everything is so totally overloaded, underfunded, understaffed, and it's just but we don't mean what we say, so people literally go out there. Look at the accountability that's not being held, and not just in the criminal element, but also in the governmental element that we see daily out there of issues, and I'm going to say elected officials and so forth. They're not being held accountable. They're not held to the same standards that we as citizens are supposed to abide to. So when you're using those examples, it's pretty hard for us to follow. And so people out here feel entitled to go out and do as they may.
You know, you and I have known each other for a long time, and I know that you'll respect the fact that I'm very blunt about certain issues in politics and policies. And right now, I see a major, major problem in this country, a cancer that is growing with a Marxist organization called Black Lives Matter, because they are dictating to law, and they're dictating to our politicians, and they're dictating to our city councils and mayors what should be done. And this is a very scary situation.
Well, I absolutely agree. Politically, judgments, uneducated judgments, there's a lot of decisions being made about copying and stuff by people that have never been in that role. They are knee-jerk reaction. We call it management by crisis. Other than getting down and trying to establish what the root causes are, we try to deal with the symptoms, which never solve the problem. Just throwing more money at things does not answer any problem. There's a lot of issues out there that certainly need to be a process looked at, problem solving. We used to call what we call the fishbone technique. What happened, and then you always ask the word why under that, and then what effect was that, and you go, why did that happen? And you keep kind of going down through that until you kind of keep coming around to back to the same one, and that kind of becomes your focal, maybe what we call a root cause. So then you start addressing that, but you don't see people in management sitting down, even with opposing views, and sitting down and going through those processes, and then trying to come down to solutions, and then implementing those solutions. And so it's more by politics and more by
responding to the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly a lot of great examples of that in the last few weeks.
Dave, I don't mean to put you on the spot or paint you into a corner, but with your expertise and knowledge, I have to ask this. With the situation that occurred just recently in Atlanta, I have seen the entirety of the tape at least 11 times. I have talked to major powers in New York City, Washington, D.C., and other parts of the country that are involved in law enforcement. Every person that I've talked to has shared the fact with me that the officers, all officers right now, are walking on eggshells, and no matter what they do, they will be condemned for it. If you looked at the tape of what happened in Atlanta and how the situation was handled and or mishandled, what are your thoughts about this case with the shooting of the black man in Atlanta?
Well, first of all, it's a tragic situation. There's no doubt about that. But we have things in place called due process. And the fact that the mayor, within less than 24 hours, used her position and judgment to fire that individual based on what she saw on a tape. This investigation, and they've already been charged with the district attorney. The lead investigation in that, as I understand, is the Georgia Investigative Bureau. They have not even come close to completing their investigation. They were not in touch with that district attorney, and they certainly were not aware of that judgments that were given yesterday, or those decisions to indict on those 11 charges. There's a lot of and the fact that they get up there and use pictures and demonstrate. They were talking at one point there that I picked out, and they were talking about distances from here he is at 15 feet, and here they are at 18 feet. I would be more interested in real time. What happened in that 1 second? What happened in the next 1 second? Things get very volatile, happen very fast, and you can't sit down and have a determination within 20 hours that person was totally at fault in that judgment. Even in employment, there's due process programs and policy in place, and it's for that reason that you have the investigation and do those. He could have been suspended, or like the other officer was put on administrative duty until the investigation was complete, so on and so forth. But that's somebody that's reacting to the moment, to the culture that's going on out there, and it's just. I know that they're trying to reduce more violence, but that is not the answer. And I think totally mishandling that investigation and so forth, and I think it's going to come back to bite them because of that.
Dave, simply put, are you concerned, like I am, that we are developing a color-coded society of police work to where people are going to, and police are going to be looking at the color of a man or woman's skin before they do anything? That's a fear of mine. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's a complete opposite of what their suggestion is that we do now, is profile and we're racist and stuff. And I do positively state that I know law enforcement officers are going to pull back. I mean, I would be second guessing myself. I thought about this day and age. I loved what I did. I tried very hard to be fair, and I made some mistakes out there in my time, but I tried to learn from them and always get better. And like I said, I always tried to remember who we were working for. But I don't know that in my mind right now that if I had a young person come to me, that I could really sincerely encourage him in a job in the profession. There are grievance procedures in places to handle these situations. We're always going to have a bad apple out there, but I don't care what profession you're in. You have bad apples out there, and there's a lot of things in place to deal with those. It takes some time, but we're mandated by court actions and legal issues to deal with those. They are throwing those out the window right now. and that's tyranny. So I do think the law enforcement is not going to be as aggressive in a lot of areas, and I hate to see that. I mean, I hear that, I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm guessing it is, that cops in Atlanta right now are having the blue flu.
Mm-hmm.
They're calling in sick when they're really not. They're not answering calls. They're not answering the radios, and so on and so forth. And that is about as low as morale as you can get.
Dave, I'm going to end the segment by asking you about one other scenario, and it just absolutely blew my mind over the last couple of days. I have sat down with some of the powers that be, and they've provided me the video of the 31-year-old punk, worthless punk in New York City that was walking by an elderly lady, 92 years old, on a walker, and he reached out and punched her in the face and knocked her down to the pavement. She hit her head on a fire hydrant, cut her head open, and then he continued walking by. This punk had been arrested over 103 times, and he's 31 years of age, and he's back on the streets. What do we do to solve this problem?
Well, again, it's not totally law enforcement. I did see the video. I didn't know about his background, but that doesn't surprise me. And again, it's one thing I wanted to tell folks that I had to come down to how some folks in our society, they're just evil. There's no way, there's no rhyme and reason when you're trying to justify or understand or make sense of it. You just can't come down to making any sense of these actions. And they're just evil in the world, and we need to combat that. And again, it's a complete justice system. It's not just law enforcement. Law enforcement can go out there and investigate and make the arrest and put them into the system, and then the system. So, again, you know, I have seen issues in little old Twin Falls, Idaho, on certain laws that the prosecutors, you know, the community doesn't really want this enforced, so we're not going to enforce those things and focus on other things and so on and so forth. Well, again, that's part of it. When we don't mean what we say, when we don't provide funds, you know, they want to defund and put it into other, you know, social issues. I can tell you right now, one, that won't just be the answer, but two, we have a lot of court referral programs now, and how is that working? So,
Dave, I'm going to say this, and you can feel free to correct me. We've been good friends for years. But when you see and read and understand the circumstances around this punk hitting this 92-year-old woman, you can't blame me and others for saying law enforcement can't be everywhere at a moment's notice. But there is a case right here for vigilante justice to take this punk down, because this is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it's going to come to that. Obviously, we don't have law enforcement everywhere, and I will tell you from experience and from knowledge that in some areas, law enforcement will not go into there at night. It's too dangerous for them, and they know that. These people will commit a crime or an issue, and I'm using an example in Portland with a highway patrol officer I was talking to, and he says, you know, if you try to stop somebody on a freeway near these areas, they will take the nearest exit and go down to these areas and park, knowing that the neighborhood, if you will, some in that neighborhood will come out to protect them. And you know, you're one or two officers. What are you going to do? And so they won't even go down and that's the way it is right now. And then you start adding, and we can't be everywhere. And they want to defund the police and make less folks out there. We have a hard time recruiting now and even filling the slots and keeping our slots full at all times. I can tell you that with the Idaho State Police, we were constantly down men. We couldn't. There was no reason to ask in females, and there was no reason to ask for more people because we could not keep the positions full as we were then. So I think that I hate to see it as a unorganized mob, if you will, and we start going putting, you know, a horse thief and you're throwing a rope over. That's not the level we need to go to, and there's a fine line there. But I do think there was a great incident with a security Marine covering a news person the other day, and he saw that two individuals were breaking into cop cars that were there at a scene, and he saw them pull out a rifle. He immediately moved the news person around the corner. He went back. He was armed, and he went right for that individual, challenged him, took that firearm away. After he had shot it, he was shooting it in the air. And then he looked over and saw another individual getting one out of the car across, and he immediately confronted him and literally took that weapon away from him. So that was a non-police person acting, and who knows what he saved.
Absolutely.
That was a great thing.
Dave Neal, I have always admired you for what you do and what you've done, a former district commander with the Idaho State Police and a dear friend. Dave, please come back in the future. You do an outstanding job, and we've missed having you on the air. Thank you, and God bless you.
Well, thanks for the invite, and any time. Thank you, Zeb.
Thank you. I admire that man and respect that man because he is the epitome of a great law enforcement officer. And Dave Neal, I'm very, very high on what he's done, what he's accomplished, and we need more like him today. Time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they are the professionals when it comes to accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area, and they have been for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, bookkeeping services, retirement planning. Woo, the list goes on and on. They are the best. They are the professionals. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Tell you more in a minute, but right now here's Gina with the weather.
It might actually feel like summer for the next couple of days. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies, calm winds out of the northeast at about 5 miles an hour, high of about 70. Tonight, nice and clear with a low 44. Tomorrow, sunny, warming up to 76. Looks like partly cloudy skies and 54 Friday night. By Saturday, mostly sunny, 83, 84 for Sunday. And as we make our way towards Monday, sunny skies and highs in the mid-80s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb.
I love it. Thank you, Gina. Boy, that weather forecast sounds good after we've had the Carhartts and the bandanas on the last couple of days. Want to warm up. I love it. Don't forget the weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Hello, Leiden and the crew over there. Yes, sirree, Bobby, the professionals. And they can help people starting a business or maybe converting over to a corporation or people wanting to expand and hire more employees, all of this and so much more, with office locations at 1710 Overland in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. Remember the professionals, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Woo! Busy day. I really enjoyed having Dave Neal on our program. He tells it like it is, and I have a lot of respect for that. Thank you very much. You know, if you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places for you to go. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do. I'm hungry and I'm starving. And how about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? They got the new kids' meal, chicken nuggets, half small fry, and 12-ounce drink. And they've got all the corn dogs, and they got the cheeseburgers. Oh, and yes, they've got the famous Farmer Brown burgers. They are a home run with fries, special sauce, and a shake. All of this at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Moving on over to Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness. Lobby is 50% open right now, social distancing, and it's a great place to get together for your morning coffee. And with that morning coffee, have a breakfast burrito. Knock your Tony Llamas off. Delicious. Scrambled eggs, bacon, and sausage, combination of both, cheese, onions, tomato sauce on a tortilla shell. What a way to start the day. All day long. Delicious menu choices at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Moving back now to two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. And boy, I'm telling you, fish and shrimp and halibut baskets and corn dogs and burritos. What? Only $1.29? Whoa! And all the different burgers and sandwiches, they're open every day. And they want to serve you with delicious food and nice people at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, let's go over to Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Oh, yeah. 3 tasty steaks, most tender filet, favorite of ribeye, and tasty sirloin. And the Double R Ranch provides those steaks. Oh, and the patio's open, weather permitting, live music on the weekends. What more could you want? Order from the menu, great desserts. They've got cupcakes. They've got it all for you over there with a friendly, dedicated staff at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Food made the way you love it. And those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. What have we got cooking next hour? Well, we're going to take a look here at the old page, and it looks like we've got Cassia County School Days coming up at 10:06. And then we're going to have our business salute, and that's at 10:23. Then, of course, at 10:30 this morning, we're going to have another little topic to talk about for about 10-15 minutes. Then I'm going to do the weather, and then I'm going to jump in the old pick-em-up truck and down the road to get to Burley for the outside summer party at Denny's Restaurant. Yes, 611 North Overland in Burley. And I urge you to come on down and be with us. We're urging all the members of the Lunch Bunch to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So join us. Might be just a tad cool, but not bad. Maybe about 69, 70 degrees. And it should be a lot of fun with great, great people. So stay tuned. We're going to turn this back over to Sean at the main studio and listen to the network news. We'll be back, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, in about 7 minutes. And a good morning to you for the last time today. I'll say that on this Thursday, June 18th. And welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you in a very safe, clean environment and the best in tires. Don't forget, too, our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Senior Living. And they're located, of course, at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Wonderful, beautiful 12-bedroom home. My goodness sakes. I'm going to stop right here and say the number to call. Seniors, listen to this, 650-4979. 650-4979. Matt and Kelly Wiggins have built a beautiful home for you to enjoy. 3 meals a day and, of course, snacks and housekeeping and local transportation included. My goodness, what a great, valuable feature in the community. Easy to find right there on 21st Street, just a mile east of Walmart. Stop in or give them a call first to set up an appointment to see the facility. Greystone Crossing Senior Living, 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. And some other friends of mine that I need to talk about real quick, and that's 7K Metals with silver purchases sent right to your home. Absolutely. Value of silver going up, 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 and you can help build yourself your financial security and future. Create your own security bank through silver purchases. It's a wonderful opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones in the future. Find out more. What do? Contact Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259. Tell them I told you to call. They'll help you at 7K Metals with silver purchases. You get a hold of them today. Right now, let's go to the phone line. And we have with us the Cassia School Business Manager, and that's Mr. Chris James. He's been on our program before. He's the guy that makes sure everything balances and they're not in the red. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
than I deserve. How are you?
Not too bad. I could not do your job. I mean, I've got a picture in my mind's eye of you with a candle in back of you, burning the midnight oil late into the evening, trying to figure out how to balance the books. Is that pretty close?
Well, this time of year exactly, because we're trying to close out the prior year's budget and start the new budget and get ready for the audit. So I thought summers would be pretty good for this job, you know, having the schools out of session, but it's actually pretty busy for this responsibility.
You know, I guess I'm going to ask a question, and maybe I'm a little naive in my asking this, Chris, but how much did the coronavirus and the school shutdown and everything else, how much did it throw everything into disarray?
Well, it did. I mean, everyone keeps saying it was unprecedented. We haven't experienced a long-term closure like that in anybody's recent memory. So everybody was having to scramble. We were trying to figure out how to get resources out to students, how to adjust to this kind of long closure, and nobody knew how long it was going to last. And so there was a lot of uncertainty around it. But I think now everything's shifted to what's it going to look like in the fall.
Yeah. I would imagine, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the shutdown and the having to resort to internet and the teaching over the internet and the computers and everything, wow, that would have probably touched the budget for some expenditures that you weren't aware of or hoping for.
Yeah, we had to shift things around a little bit. So, fortunately, we did have enough computer devices. We used Chromebooks, which is kind of like a digital laptop notebook computer that we were able to get those out to the kids. And we had some software in place already that teachers were able to communicate with kids, and so a lot of that was there. But you know, during the pandemic, the state started to have fears about incoming state revenues, and so they announced a 1% holdback for the current fiscal year and a 5% budget cut for next fiscal year.
How do you sit down and figure that? I mean, again, I'm sounding a little naive, but I'm not in your line of work. But how do you sit down and figure out a budget when so many things are intangible, so many things are changeable, so many things are left up to the whim of politics or whatever? How do you do that?
Well, it's probably no different than your business. I mean, a budget is a spending plan, as our superintendent likes to say. So we make a plan of how we think the money is best spent based on input we get from stakeholders, which are, you know, staff, faculty, community input, school input. And we make that spending plan, and it isn't always quite executed exactly like you plan because there's always unknowns. But it generally is, our revenues are generally pretty consistent. And we're able to be pretty close. And the main reason I wanted to call in today was before I forget, was to let people know that we have our budget hearing tonight at 5 o'clock.
Okay. And tell us where, et cetera.
So the budget hearing will be tonight, 5 p.m. at the Kansas School District Office, 3650 Overland Avenue in Burley.
Okay.
And the regular board meeting will follow that at 7 o'clock.
Okay. Now, what about, let me just throw a couple of things out that the public may not know, because I would bet that one of those question mark entities that you have to figure a budget on is fuel for the Cassia County School District. And we've seen prices go down. We've seen prices start to slip back up. We've heard rumors that it's going to escalate even more. How do you manage to figure a budget out on fuel costs for all the busing?
Yeah, so our buses travel approximately 3,000 miles a day. That's when you add up all the bus routes. So that's like driving from L.A. to New York every day. And
wow.
So we do spend quite a bit on fuel. It's between, you know, $250,000 to $300,000 a year. And we bid that out, try to contract it. But there is still fluctuation in that because what we're able to contract at is the margin above the rack price. So we're going to pay rack price as it fluctuates, but we're able to contract that delivery and that markup above the rack price to help keep that cost down. So the state, how they fund school transportation is they do a mileage reimbursement to and from school, where they reimburse 50% of the fuel and 50% of the driver's salary and benefits.
Chris, what about money coming into the school? I mean, what are the sources of revenue for school districts, and can you enhance those with various projects?
Sure, that's a great question, too. So in our district, and most are similar, but the majority of our money comes from the state of Idaho, sales tax and income tax. It wasn't always that way. They used to, prior to 2006, they funded schools out of property tax, but then they shifted to sales and income tax. So 70% of our revenue in the Cassia School District comes from the state of Idaho. 13% comes from property tax. Those are voter-approved things like our supplemental levy and the school bond. And then 12% comes from the federal government, and those are programs such as special education, migrant education, Title I, and child nutrition. And then 4% comes from, local grants, donations, interest income, fees that we may collect.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of extra ways to raise money. I mean, we provide, one product, which is public education, and that product is generally free to anybody who wants to enroll in your school that lives within your boundaries.
What about the comparison? And again, I'm going to show some naivete here, but what about the comparison of school districts and financing of like school districts that are extremely rural and very small in the state of Idaho as compared to the monies that are sent and or allocated by the larger districts?
This goes back to economics. I mean, economies of scale, and obviously you're funded based on how many students you have. So a small rural school is not going to get a large sum of money, but the state funding formula is weighted in favor of those small rural schools a lot of times, whereas although they may not get a large sum of money, they may actually end up getting more per pupil than, say, Boise or an urban district would get, because it is weighted in favor that you need a certain amount of money to run that school regardless of how many students show up. So there are some variables in the funding formula that account for rural schools. But generally, if you're going to have to provide a principal or a teacher, it's going to be less expensive. If you have 30 students, it's going to be less expensive per student than if you have 15 students.
Okay. I would imagine, again, thinking about what you were just saying about budgets and everything else, what about the extracurricular, the athletic program, football, baseball, basketball, that type of thing? How do you go about figuring the budgets for those respective sports?
Sure. The state funds the general operating of schools. So, I mean, they're going to pay for things like teacher salaries, support staff salaries, and, help with school supplies and utilities and that kind of stuff. The one thing the state doesn't fund is extracurricular activities. So if districts want to provide those things, typically they're charging some kind of participation fee or, having kids help with the cost of uniforms and travel and those kind of things. So generally, again, the games that are played in district are pretty similar from year to year, but it is expensive to send teams to state competitions. And in Cassia, we have 4 competitive high schools. So if multiple teams make it to a state competition, that can get quite expensive. So you try to plan for that kind of thing. But but that's one variable that's unknown at the start of the school year, is how many teams are going to participate in state competition.
You know, though, Chris, let me back up just for a second, if I may. And I've always kind of got a cringe when I've heard about participation fees, because I think that somewhat, maybe I'm wrong, tell me if I am, somewhat that limits the amount of talent that can play because they can't afford the dollar bill.
Well, you're probably not wrong. I think everyone wants to try to be sensitive to that. Schools generally can't charge tuition fees, but if it's an extracurricular thing that is voluntary participation, you can charge fees for that because, like I said, it's not funded by the state. But I think generally every school, I would say, in the area has opportunities for kids where booster clubs can step in, or waivers for fees that students are not able to pay. So those conversations, if there's a student that wants to play or a parent that would like their child to play and finances are an issue, typically a simple conversation with the coach or with the building principal would result in resources from a booster club or from athletic supporters or even from school funds possibly to help with those kind of situations.
And I was thinking, too, that we're looking at the last 3 months have been devastating to the economy, and now it looks like, from the economists that I've had on my program, the economists that I talked to back in the East Coast, Washington, D.C., New York City, a lot of them are very optimistic that we're going to have, instead of a U-curve upward, we're going to get that sharp V-curve upward if we can get America back to work and going again. And that all plays an effect on school budgets, doesn't it?
Well, I hope so, yes. Like I said, Idaho currently funds the majority of their schools with sales tax. So if businesses are closed, if travel's not happening, if events are being canceled, sales tax revenue is going to be down. And so they're talking about, at least the state was indicating, an 8 to 14% reduction in revenue. And they're only cutting 5% from schools. That's in part because they're getting some federal stimulus and there's some rainy day funds that they have at the state. But schools are still filling that 5% cut next year. And if it for some reason continues beyond that, there could be possible cuts in future years as well.
One other thing I wanted to mention, and again, I don't mean to beleaguer this and ask you questions and back into a corner, but what about the school lunch program? Is that a kind of an ever-changing budget, or how do you figure that?
Yes, it is. So this year was unique, obviously. With school being on soft closure, we weren't providing lunch in the normal sense. We were still offering meals that parents could pick up curbside at the schools for their children. And so we were able to continue serving lunch in some fashion. But those programs are largely funded from the sales of lunches. So either students that are qualify for free lunch or reduced lunch, and the USDA, the federal government's picking up the tab, or students paying for their lunch meals. So we didn't have any of that paid revenue coming in. And it changes a lot, too. In fact, one of the things on the agenda for board meeting tonight is to publish bids for our school lunch products, milk, produce, and those kinds of things for the upcoming year. And so we'll be selecting solicitations for pricing on those kind of products.
I want to thank you for making it so easy to understand. The Cassia County School Business Manager, Chris James. Chris, you do an outstanding job coming on the program. We appreciate it, and come back again. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Bye.
Very interesting, gentleman, about a subject that could be kind of boring and mundane to some, but boy, I mean, there's a lot of thought process in how to budget for a school year. Thank you very much. I'm going to check over with Sean and see if we have our dear friend Jeff from Lee's Furniture on the air. Is he ready to go, Sean?
No,
Not yet, sir. I'm calling him right now.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Once again, a reminder, in about a little bit more than an hour, we're going to be over at Denny's Restaurant, and we're going to be having our outdoor Zeb's Lunch Bunch. It's going to be there at 11:30 today at 611 North Overland in Burley, and they just absolutely have been so great to work with, and they're going to have kind of a duck pond for prizes, and everybody that goes there, they're going to have a Hawaiian lei around your neck. It's going to be kind of a hot fun in the summertime at Denny's Restaurant, starting today and going through the weekend, actually, at 611 North Overland in Burley. I'll see if he's ready to go. Jeff, are you there?
No, he's not.
Oh.
Evidently, he's not even in the store right now, and they didn't have anyone prepped.
Oh, well, good heavens, I say that with tongue-in-cheek because we were told he'd be ready to go. Evidently, it slipped his mind. Sean, I appreciate your help. You're doing a great job over there, and I know that's a burden on you, but thank you very much. So, with that being said, I guess what we will do is ask for some calls. You're more than welcome to give me a jingle in the remaining time on this half hour. Evidently, our business salute is not there. I'll quickly tell you, though, however, that Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More is having a great big Father's Day sale. It started yesterday and it goes through the 20th, and all the recliners are on sale, all the mattresses, and of course sofas and love seats. My goodness, you better get in there today. And they've got 110% lowest price guarantee, they say. 0 interest for 12 months on approved credit. Take Dad by the hand and say, come on, Pop, we're going to get you a Father's Day gift right there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see those really good folks today. Once again, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One other thing I wanted to mention quickly, Doug's alternator and starter repair is for sale. Yep, Doug's going to leave the business, sell it, and he's going to retire and enjoy life a little bit more. He should. He deserves it. And Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair is located at 635 21st Street in Heyburn. My, what a great business opportunity. He will help with the financing, and he will also train the new buyer the business of rebuilding starters and repair on alternators, etc. I urge you to give him a call right now. Don't put it off. 878-4991. 878-4991. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair, 635 21st Street in Heyburn. It's for sale. Turnkey business opportunity for you. Let's see, what else have I got cooking here? I've got to get this on this morning. I forgot earlier, and I meant to say this, that the Modern Woodman Fraternal Financial Association, they're having a member-supported fundraiser, lunch pickup and raffle for the Minidoka County Senior Center, and it's going to be next Friday, June 26th, at the Minidoka County Senior Center at 702 11th Street in Rupert. $5 the cost of the meal. And don't forget, raffle tickets are now available at the center. $2 for one ticket, $5 for three. Homemade gift baskets are going to be drawn for, and the drawing will be on that day, June 26th at 11 a.m. So our thanks, always there to help. Modern Woodman, Jerry Voss, our great friends, and the Minidoka County Senior Center. All of this coming up and will be held on the 26th next week. Wow. Let's see, what else have I got cooking here that I have to mention. I think I've got all the public service announcements out of the way, and we're going to send this back over to our main studios momentarily, and then in the next half hour, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Hollywood elites and also graffiti. And graffiti is all over as a burden and a big negative in many communities. And it's also hit the city of Rocks, which I find absolutely deplorable. We're going to be talking about that in the next half hour. I mentioned to you earlier this morning that, in my opinion, one of the world's greatest cartoonists, and he really picks up on everything that we do on this program, Paul Peterson, is having a birthday today. And Paul, to you, your wife, I thank you for all you do. Happy birthday. Right now, let's send this over to the main studios, and I'll be back in a few minutes with more.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Isn't it interesting, underline the word interesting, how the elites in our society will say that they're going to support Black Lives Matter. They say that they're going to support the protesters. They say that they're going to give checks to bail out the protesters. But, whoa, stop the wagon train for a minute here, Ward Bond. When these same protesters and same circumstances like what are going on in Seattle and Portland come into the elite's backyard, especially in Hollywood, oh my! Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Why, they are outraged that these people would come down to Rodeo Drive and have maybe the same circumstance happen there. Why, they can't do that. They've got to be issued out of here. We can't have them here. Isn't it interesting how it's okay to fund and promote illegal activities and cause chaos in our streets, but not in their backyard? And that's exactly what's going on down in Hollywood. The phonies. I absolutely come out with that verbiage, and I'm going to stand behind it. The phonies. There are very, very few of these people in Hollywood that are real people that understand what's going on. You can take your Leonardo DiCaprios, you can take all these others, lump them together into a great big ball and throw it in the ocean, and they will not float. I've never seen such hypocrisy in my life, to where they will hand out these checks, make sure the media watches them, write out a check for $500,000 or $25,000 or even $1 million. But keep all the fracas away from them and their backyard. They are complete phonies. What's going on in Seattle is a perfect case of it's gone on too long. What is it now, the 11th day? And the taxpayers are picking up the tab, literally, for all this idiotic mess. And it is idiotic. And believe me, it's a mess. From the porta potties to everything else, the taxpayers are picking up the money to let these slobs ruin the integrity of their city. I mean, when you see these fat pigs walking around with AK-47s, and you see this absolute revolt against anything civilized, urinating right in plain view of TV cameras and everybody else, and having the abuse of the drug abuse right there in front of the cameras, and the basically giving the you-know-what certain finger to the American public and the American taxpayer and the law. This has got to stop. These are no good bums. These are no good bums. They're not patriots. This mayor in Seattle is absolutely destitute of any knowledge or any concept of what's going on. She is a complete fool. Calling them patriots. They need to be removed, and they need to be removed now by force. If there is any conflagration or confrontation, so be it. They have to be removed. Same can be said as to what happened in the protests last night in Portland. Literally thousands of people blocking the freeway, blocking the destination point for a lot of drivers, truck drivers, everybody else trying to get home, trying to go to an appointment, trying to maybe go on vacation, whatever the case might be. But they just wanted to block the road because they are protesters, much of which was promoted and geared for Black Lives Matter. People's lives have been disrupted. People's meetings, people's jobs, people's wanting to do something with their kids on vacation disrupted because of these no good bums. It's got to stop. Don't think for a minute that with the 4th of July looming on the horizon, Independence Day just a matter of days away, that they haven't got something more up their sleeve to disrupt honest, God-fearing taxpayers and really put a speck on their lives. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Talk to me, caller. You're on the air. Go. Is the caller there?
The caller's there.
Caller, speak to me now. Hang up on them then. I can't wait for them to answer the phone. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Sometimes people call and they're distracted by other things going on. We can't have that. You've got to be diligent and pay attention to what's going on here, not over there. Once again, calls welcome, 436-2244. The other thing I wanted to mention in the time remaining, and I do have time for some calls, so give me a jingle, is I was reading the story in the Times News this morning that absolutely, here's another story that just absolutely sickens me. And anybody that knows more knowledge about this and firsthand knowledge, give me a call, let me know. But the graffiti up at the City of Rocks, people coming in and putting all the filthy slogans or painting over the settlers' signatures that were here for over 100 and some years and destroying the aesthetic value of the area. I wish and I hope that those people can be found. And I think they should be required by a judge and a jury to take a little bitty toothbrush, and go up there with their little tube of Colgate or whatever it takes to take that graffiti off, and you work for hours and hours and days in the hot sun to get rid of the brainless activity that you did to destroy the City of Rocks. You know, the law's not tough enough, evidently. And when we find these people, a little slap on the wrist, here, pay your fine, go ahead, you can go. Baloney. The destruction of our history, of which there is so much in this area, is absolutely ridiculous, and none of us should stand for it. None of us. Calls welcome. Boy, I'm on a soapbox today. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I was handed this morning before going on the air. I mentioned it yesterday. Quaker Oats is going to retire the Aunt Jemima brand of syrup, and they said it's too much based on a racial stereotype. And now I understand that they're also going to be canceling Uncle Ben's rice because there again, too much racial stereotyping. And I understand, too, that now they're thinking about stopping Mrs. Butterworth's syrup. Land of Lakes livestock feed is going to stop having on the outside logo an Indian maiden. Where is all this going to stop? Where is all this going to stop? TV shows are being canceled. TV Land with some of the old reruns is being threatened to stop and pull westerns or various movies that depict the Indians being subdued by the soldiers and or cowboys or vice versa. I mean, the whole thing is getting completely out of hand. Are they actually cleansing, or is it total censorship against the First Amendment? What are these people so afraid of with our past and our history? What are we so afraid of that we have to try to get rid of it, delete it, and make it go into obscurity forever? I do not understand. But the statues of Robert E. Lee being taken down, smashed, many other Confederate leaders being taken down and smashed. Robert E. Lee may have been one of the main focal points for the Civil War, but after the Civil War was over, a lot of people aren't smart enough or do their diligent work to find out he was one of the great uniters to put the United States back together. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, you're so frustrated. And, you watch something that is the greatest country on earth, and it really is. There's nowhere else on this earth ever, in the history of mankind, there's never been an America. There's never been equal opportunity for people like there is here. And it has to remain free. And see, you can't wash away the history. We really are a great country. We really are a great people. And I know the majority of black people that want to go out and work for a living, and the opportunities are there, and they know it. And these, like you said, the phony Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston, if they didn't have money, they wouldn't have anything, because that's all they've got. They think they're so important.
Yeah.
They're a joke. And see, the very thing that enabled them to be rich, they are willing to destroy. And so you say to yourself, how do you save it? The people have got to stand up and teach their children and realize that, that we've got to save this thing. Nobody's going to do it for us. Nobody's going to come down here and clean up our mess. We've got to do this ourselves.
Well, it's going to take leadership, and it's going to take people looking at each other in the eye and saying, you may try to stop me, but you're not going to win. We're going to put America back with a value system. We're going to put America back to where we are, the beacon of light for the rest of the world. And if you want to try to impede that, dude, you better get out of our way, because the wagons are going to roll right over you. That's the attitude that we have to have again.
Exactly. One more quick statement. Some people call Trump Patton. Well, General George Patton died, I remember, 46, whatever. Donald J. Trump was born 6 months less 7 days. 6 months less 7 days after George Patton died. Now, I don't know if Donald Trump is the reincarnation of Patton, but if he is or isn't, it doesn't matter. But I'll tell you what, we need leadership, and we've got it, and the left is literally running out of options, and chaos reigns, but ultimately the silent majority is still the majority.
You got it. Randy, I got to run, but I do appreciate your call. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Want to remind you, a great place to go eat? Oh, I'm talking about Edith's Cafe, and they're located at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley, right across from the golf course. They're open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 9. Wow. Great specials every day. What menu choices. And if you haven't tried that barbecued brisket sandwich, knock your grinners out. It's tremendous. You're going to love it. All the food is really, really great at Edith's Cafe. And don't forget, too, they do catering for any of your events coming up this summer. They can help. They will help. All you got to do is call them at 878-2248. Edith's Cafe, 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. And that leads us up to the weather forecast, brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew always serving you with the most delicious of meats, and oh my goodness, have they got all the pork and the pork chops and the hams, all the flavors of bacon, and don't forget, man, all the bratwurst. Oh, it's summertime. Great eating from Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number to call, 324-7657. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
It might actually feel like summer for the next couple of days. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies, calm winds out of the northeast at about 5 miles an hour, high of about 70. Tonight, nice and clear with a low 44. Tomorrow, sunny, warming up to 76. Looks like partly cloudy skies and 54 Friday night. By Saturday, mostly sunny, 83, 84 for Sunday. And as we make our way towards Monday, sunny skies and highs in the mid-80s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, boy. Changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarrow's Meats. I am on my way out the door. We're going to head down to Denny's and enjoy their summer fun party out there in the parking lot. We hope to see you there. I want to thank Sean for an outstanding job on the program, running the board. It was an outstanding job. And thank him. He's going to fill in with some tunes while I jump in the pick-em-up truck and head down Burley Way. We'll see you back here Monday at 8:06, where we always say the way things were, the way things ought to be, and the 4 words that mean the most to us: in God we trust. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. We'll see you Monday at 8:06. God bless.